It was a perfectly normal morning on the island of Sodor, which meant Sir Topham Hatt was standing on a roof in his pyjamas shouting at a cloud.
"You look like a turnip," he yelled.
Thomas puffed into Knapford Station and immediately wished he hadn't. "Good morning, sir," said Thomas. Sir Topham Hatt spun around. "Thomas, I need you to do a very important job. Deliver passengers. No. Pull trucks. No. Take milk to the dairy. No, you blue boiler with eyebrows. I need you to transport this soup cannon." Thomas looked at the flatbed. On it sat a huge cannon labelled, "Property of the Fat Controller. Do not fire at kids ever." Thomas blinked. "Why do we have a soup cannon?" "For emergencies," said Sir Topham Hatt. "What kind of emergency needs soup launched at high speed?" Sir Topham Hatt leaned close. "The stupid kind." Thomas puffed away with the soup cannon, feeling very important and only slightly afraid. At the junction, he met Boko, who was reading a newspaper upside down. "Morning, Thomas," said Boko. "Why are you pulling a war crime?" "It's soup. That's what they all say." Just then Dennis rolled up, looking extremely tired for an engine who had done absolutely nothing since 2006. "I was asked to help," Dennis said, "so naturally I hid behind a shed." Thomas frowned. "Dennis, you lazy diesel bin lid." Dennis yawned. "That's fair." Then Neville arrived, somehow looking guilty despite not doing anything. "Hello," said Neville. "I've been blamed for something already." "What? I don't know yet, but I can feel it coming." Suddenly, the soup cannon sneezed. Boom! A blast of tomato soup shot across the yard and hit Gordon directly in the face. Gordon stopped. Soup dripped from his buffers. Then Gordon whispered, "I am a mainline engine." Thomas gulped. Gordon screamed, "I am not a biscuit," and thundered away backwards. Meanwhile, up in the mountains, Coldy was trying to give a serious safety lecture. "The mountain is dangerous," he said. "One must always be careful, sensible, and—" A bowl of soup landed on his roof. Coldy sighed. "Right. I resign from reality." Beside him, Godred's ghost appeared, wearing sunglasses for no reason. "Skill issue," said Godred. "You fell off a mountain," snapped Coldy. "Yeah, but I looked cool doing it." Then Evo Hugh rolled in with a cheese sandwich stuck to his funnel. "Nobody ask," he said. No one did. Back at Tidmouth Sheds, the engines were having an emergency meeting. James was staring at his reflection in a spoon. Edward was asleep with his eyes open. Henry had somehow become emotionally attached to a cabbage. Percy was wearing a bucket as a helmet. And Duke, the little old engine, was furious. "In my day," Duke wheezed, "we didn't have soup cannons. We had dignity." "Duke," said Percy, "you once yelled at a sheep for looking French, and I'd do it again." Sir Topham Hatt arrived by parachute, even though nobody knew where he had parachuted from. "Engines!" he bellowed. "The soup cannon has gone rogue." Thomas looked at the cannon, which was now wearing a tiny hat. How can a cannon go rogue? The soup cannon slowly turned toward him. Thomas whispered, "Oh, piss pots." The cannon fired again, launching pea soup straight into Cranky's cab. Cranky swung around angrily. "Who did that?" Nobody answered. Cranky looked down and saw Mighty Mac arguing with themselves. "It was you," said Mighty. "No, it was you." said Mac. "We are the same engine, you idiot chimney." "Grunt," Cranky groaned. "I hate this island." Things got worse when the cannon rolled onto the main line by itself. Thomas chased after it. Behind him came Boko, Dennis, Neville, Molly, Murdoch, Arthur, Fergus, Flora, Billy, Hank, Stepney, Proteus, and Smudger, who had somehow escaped being turned into a generator. "Wait," said Thomas. "Smudger, aren't you supposed to be a generator?" Smudger grinned. "Budget cuts." Proteus' magic lamp glowed. "Make a wish," said Proteus. Thomas shouted, "I wish this story made sense." The lamp flickered. Proteus coughed awkwardly. "Best I can do is a haunted turnip." A turnip appeared on the track and began singing opera. Murdoch stared at it. "I'm going back to bed." The soup cannon rolled into Brendam Docks, where Salty was telling a story to nobody. And then the pirate said, "That's not me, Treasure. That's me, Dentist." Porter groaned. That wasn't a story. That was a sentence with a hat on. The soup cannon aimed at the docks. Salty gasped. "By the barnacles on me buffers." Thomas screeched to a halt. "We have to stop it." Dennis rolled forward slowly. "I have a plan." Everyone stared. Dennis said, "What if we simply don't?" "No, fuck off," said everyone. So Fergus, who loved rules, rolled up in front of the cannon. "Stop!" Fergus cried. "You are violating Rule 893, no soup artillery without written permission." The cannon paused. Everyone held their breath. Then the cannon fired gravy. Fergus was blasted into a pile of paperwork. From inside the heap, he muttered, "That's not regulation." At last, Duke puffed forward. "Stand aside," he said. "I shall handle this." Thomas looked worried. "Duke, are you sure?" Duke narrowed his eyes. "I survived narrow-gauge railway drama. I fear no soup tube." The cannon turned toward Duke. Duke stared it down. The cannon stared back, despite not having eyes. Duke whispered, "Your mother was a kettle." The cannon gasped somehow. Then it exploded, not dangerously, just stupidly. Soup flew everywhere. Thomas was covered in tomato soup. James was covered in glittery soup. Percy was covered in soup, shaped like another Percy. Gordon puffed in, still backwards, and got hit by one final noodle. He stared at it. The noodle slid down his nose. Gordon said, very quietly, "I'm telling my lawyer." Sir Topham Hatt arrived on a unicycle pulled by a goat. "Well done, engines," he said. "You have saved Sodor from soup-based disaster." Thomas frowned. "Sir, you caused the disaster." "Nonsense. You bought the cannon for emergencies. You fired it at Gordon for morale. You parachuted onto a shed for exercise." Sir Topham Hatt looked offended. "Thomas, you are being very cheeky." Duke puffed up beside Thomas. "With respect, sir, this whole railway is run like a drunken sandwich." Everyone gasped. Sir Topham Hatt thought about this. Then he nodded. "Fair." The engines cheered. The haunted turnips sang the national anthem. Dennis fell asleep on a siding and was declared Employee of the Month. Neville got blamed for the soup explosion anyway. And Gordon spent the rest of the week demanding that everyone call him Soup Gordon the Wronged. As for Thomas, he was given a special reward, a nice quiet day with no nonsense. Unfortunately, The next morning Sir Topham Hatt appeared wearing a diving helmet. "Thomas," he said, "I need you to deliver this cursed trampoline to the moon." Thomas shut his eyes. Bugger.